eastern flank of NATO. And we are ready at the same time and on top of that, and without reducing this commitment, to provide security guarantees for Ukraine. This is the same approach, and all these approaches are clearly compliant, and it was fairly assessed by the Secretary General of NATO. Thank you, Keir.
Thank you, Emmanuel. And I think this focus on the shadow fleet is so important. We need to intensify that, particularly in light of what's happened in the last few days. So really important. Donald, can I come to you? Because obviously we saw the incursion of drones and the reaction to that. So over to you, really, because if we cannot ignore the fact that over recent weeks and months, there has been, at the very least, an increased appetite for recklessness on behalf of Putin. So, Donald.
Thank you. I will be very brief because I think from my point of view everything is more or less clear when it comes to the whole war context. First of all, again, congratulations. We were very happy together with Manuel and Friedrich to be there just before your election, and we felt how difficult the situation was and still is, of course. But your example, this is a good lesson for all of us, because it means that if you are determined enough, if you are courageous enough, you can win. Also, if you are, small Moldova, you can win against Russia, because it was in fact, the elections in Moldova, not only in Moldova, as you said, but in Moldova it was a very spectacular example. The elections, it is also a part of a very untypical war we live in fact. 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I said that the post-war epoch had ended and that we entered the pre-war epoch. Unfortunately, it is no longer the case because, in fact, we are in time of war today. And for me, your lesson, but also what we experience in Poland with all these provocations from the Russians and Belarusians. For me, it means that today it's absolutely obvious that we have to stop all this kind of illusions. The first illusion was and is that there's no war. It's some of us, we like this definition like full-scale aggression or incidents or provocation. No, it's war. A new type of war, very complex, but it's war. Shadow fleet. Now we have signals. The last one was, I received a message from Warsaw. We have another incident now close to Szczecin port. 2 days ago it was an incident close to our Petro-Baltic platform and our pipeline. Both are Russian vessels. And in fact, we have new incidents in our region, I mean Baltic Sea, every single week. It's almost every day. We have the drones attack or provocation was the most spectacular one when it comes to the Polish side. But in fact, we have similar provocation also every single day on our border with Belarus. You know the situation, but it's nothing abstract. War is not an abstraction now for us, because we have on our border with Belarus, we have more than 100 attempts per day, and it's some kinetic actions against our soldiers on our border with victims also. It's our daily routine now. This permanent confrontation with Belarusian services and this weaponized illegal migration, really well organized by Putin and Lukashenko. It is a kind of war also. Estonia, dozens of violations. This was not the first attempt, I mean the violations of the Estonian airspace. This is why it is a war. We are also a target for the Russian aggression, not only with the hybrid tools, but also when it comes to political goals, intentions. And it's clear, not only in Moscow, I think that the whole West is under threat. And the aggression against Ukraine is just the first phase of this new approach. Second, we can hear in I think all capitals in Europe this narrative. This is okay. If it is war, it is not our war. It is our war. Okay, Ukraine is in the front line now, but in fact we have this aggressive actions, provocations, etc. And all of us are targets, the possible targets for these attacks. It's, Kir, you know this also personally, how strange and how dangerous they can be, also physically, kinetically against us. It is our war, and if Ukraine loses, it means our failure. I have no doubts in a mid-term or long-term perspective. And the third illusion is also very well prepared by Putin's propaganda, is that we are not able to win this war. That it is impossible for Ukraine and for all of us to win this war. It's an absurd. The only advantage, the Russian advantage, the only one is mentality. We are much bigger than them. You know, the GDP of Poland will be comparable to the Russian one of Poland in 2 years. Economically, they have no chance against us. Our population is almost 500 million. Together with UK have 500 million against 150. We are much richer, technologically, much better prepared. The only Russian advantage is here and here. I mean, they are ready to fight. They are ready to sacrifice something. They are ready to suffer. And the psychological advantage, this is why we are so, sometimes we are so, you know, okay, not decisive enough and not determined enough. And this is why the Moldovan example is so important. It's not only a symbolic one, but also something very practical. If you are determined enough, you can win. And our yesterday discussion about drone wall, about our reactions, should we destroy the Russian objects over Ukraine or in our airspace, I think it's absolutely clear that the most important and the last step in our efforts how to help Ukraine to win this war is more determination. Money is not the problem. I mean, it's always the problem, but compared to, sorry, not the biggest. And this is my appeal. And as I said yesterday, I am not interested in escalation. I am the last one here who is interested in escalation, because we will be the first victim of the war. And for Poland, peace and ceasefire, this is something absolutely the highest priority for us. But we know, not only because of our history, because of geography, but also we know something about the Russian intentions and plans. We know that if they win against Ukraine, it is also in the future the end of my country and of Europe. I have no doubts. And this is why we have to be as determined as Volodymyr and his people and as Maya and her nation. Thank you.
Maya, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your support and for the kind words. The elections we had on September 28th were not simple elections. This was a test for a democracy under attack. Russia spent hundreds of millions of euros in these elections to illegally finance political parties. Well, they've been supporting some political parties for decades, but only in the last 2 years they've created at least 7 new political parties in Moldova. We have it's very easy, as it should be in Moldova, to create a political party. Of course, all these attempts to destabilize the country, all these attempts to hire people on the ground to produce disinformation